Now, we've all heard the saying that every rose has its thorn, and when it comes to roses, it seems like the biggest thorn of all is propagating them. But I am convinced that we can solve this mystery together once and for all. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what those things are. What I have here is a small rose branch I just trimmed from the main plant, and already you can see all the signs and potential for new growth. Look at these nodes along the stem, these little bumps right here. These are basically the plant's growth points, just waiting to be activated. Now, before we do anything, we need to trim off any side branches, any extra growth, any leaves that are coming off the main stem, leaving behind just a clean, bare cutting. Cutting is drawing energy away from the one thing we actually want right now, root development. And what you're left with should be a smooth, bare stem remaining to help with photosynthesis. Next, take your blade and gently scrape the bottom inch or so of the stem, removing that outer layer of skin. Exposing underneath is called the cambium layer, that fresh, green tissue right there, which will increase the surface area available for root development. And while we're at it, I want to know, have you ever actually tried propagating a rose before? Let me know down in the comments, because I promise you, you are not the only one who's struggled with this. Now for our first ingredient. Take a fresh leaf and cut it into small pieces like this. Aloe vera contains natural rooting hormones called auxins, which essentially signal the cutting to start producing roots. On top of that, it's a natural antifungal and antibacterial agent, which is exactly what a fresh cutting needs. Take one of those pieces and rub it directly across the cut end of the stem, all the way around. You want a good, even coating right where the roots are going to emerge. As you rub it on, you'll feel that slightly sticky, gel-like texture starting to coat the stem. That gel is going to keep working long after we move on to the next step. Next, take all of those aloe vera pieces and pack them into a jar. Then we're going to add in a few teaspoons of uncooked rice. Now rice is loaded with starches, vitamin B, and trace minerals. All things that help stimulate root growth and give the cutting a gentle source of nutrients while it's establishing itself. Then fill the whole jar up with water, just regular room temperature water, enough to fully cover the aloe vera and the rice. Give it a little stir to help things start breaking down and releasing into the water. Now we're going to let this sit for a while, so the rice can soften, the starches can release, and the aloe vera can really infuse into the water. After about an hour, come back and strain the whole solution out. You just want the liquid here. So squeeze out as much as you can from the rice and the aloe vera before discarding them, and pour the liquid into a clean container. What you're left with is this cloudy, slightly thick solution. Using that solution, the first thing we're going to do is rinse the stem in it. Just dip it in and gently coat the entire cutting, especially down around that scraped section we exposed earlier. This gives the stem one more direct hit of those rooting hormones and nutrients right where it matters most, before we move on to actually getting this thing planted. Along with that, we're also going to rinse a handful of moss in the same solution. The moss is going to act as a moisture reservoir for the cutting once it's planted. This way, the cutting gets a slow, steady supply of everything it needs while those roots are trying to form. After about an hour, the stem should be done rinsing. Take it out, and here you'll notice the stem is fully soaked. that solution has really had time to penetrate into the cambium layer and settle into all those exposed areas. Give it just a moment to let any excess drip off. Same thing with the moss. It's done rinsing too. Take it out and give it a squeeze. You're looking for that perfectly damp, sponge-like consistency, moist enough to hold moisture against the stem, but not so wet that it stays waterlogged and invites rot. Now take that moss and settle it into the pot first, spreading it out evenly so it fills the base and gives the cutting something soft and moisture-rich to sit in. Then carefully position the stem right down into the center of it, nice and snug, with that scraped section sitting right where the moss can keep constant contact with it. And finally, we're going to take a lid with holes punched in it. What this does is create a mini greenhouse effect around the cutting, trapping in humidity, which is exactly what a rose cutting needs while it's trying to root. But those holes still let in just enough airflow, so we're not creating a damp, stagnant environment where fungus and mold can take over. After 4 weeks, you can see roots have actually developed along that scraped section of the stem, real, established roots, not just little nubs trying to form. And up top, you've got fresh new growth pushing out, with those reddish new leaves unfurling on both ends of the cutting. This is exactly the sign you want to see. It means the cutting is actively growing, which means it's successfully transitioning into an independent plant. The overall structure of the plant is now fully developed, strong roots anchoring it on one end, healthy new growth pushing out on the other. This cutting has officially become its own independent rose plant. To plant this, we're going to start by filling the pot with a handful of soil, just enough to create a solid base at the bottom. Roses, unlike orchids, are perfectly fine in regular soil. They actually need that denser, nutrient-rich medium to really thrive long-term. Then position the plant right in the center, making sure those new roots are spread out naturally and not bent or crammed against the side of the pot. Once it's sitting where you want it, cover it with the remaining soil, gently packing it in around the base so the plant is held firm and upright, but not compacted so tightly that you're cutting off airflow to those roots. Finally, give it a light mist to keep everything moist, just enough to settle the soil in around the roots without drowning it. From here, it's just routine watering. Keep the soil lightly moist, never soggy, and check it every few days depending on how fast it's drying out. And just like that, we have successfully turned one small trimmed branch into a fully rooted, independent rose plant. If this helped, a like and a subscribe goes a long way. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.